What if I told you one simple flower could turn pale, weak-looking eggs into rich, golden, nutrient-packed eggs without expensive feed? And most backyard farmers completely ignore it. If you're raising chickens for eggs, you already know egg quality matters more than quantity, color, shell strength, and nutrition. That's what separates average eggs from premium ones. You've probably walked past it 100 times without giving it a second thought. It grows easily. It costs almost nothing. And most people plant it purely for looks. But for laying hens, this one simple plant can deepen your yolk color, support your flock's immune health, and give your eggs a nutritional edge, all without supplements, without additives, and without changing a thing about how you manage your birds. Today, we're talking about a natural upgrade, marigold's petals, and why this humble garden flower might be the most underused tool on your small homestead. Not all marigolds are created equal. When we talk about marigolds for laying hens, we're focused primarily on one species, Tagetes erecta, commonly called the African marigold or Aztec marigold. This is the tall, full-headed variety you've likely seen in garden centers. It produces the highest concentration of the compounds we care about. Marigolds are exceptionally rich in carotenoid pigments, specifically lutein and zeaxanthin. These are xanthophylls, a class of natural plant pigments found in many yellow and orange fruits and vegetables. Carrots have beta-carotene. Marigolds have lutein and zeaxanthin. And for laying hens, these two compounds are where the real value lives. Here's what happens when a laying hen eats marigold petals regularly. The lutein and zeaxanthin from the petals are absorbed in her digestive system and deposited directly into the egg yolk. Within about 2 to 3 weeks of consistent feeding, you'll begin to notice the change. The yolk shifts from a pale, washed-out yellow to a deep, rich golden orange. Now, you might wonder, is that just cosmetic? It's not. Yolk color is a reliable visual marker of carotenoid content. A deeper yolk means more lutein and zeaxanthin are present in the egg itself. And that matters for the people eating those eggs. Lutein and zeaxanthin are the same compounds studied extensively for their role in supporting eye health in humans, particularly in protecting against age-related macular degeneration. They're also recognized as antioxidants that help reduce inflammation. Hens fed marigold petal meal produce eggs with measurably higher lutein and zeaxanthin content than hens on standard commercial feed. The difference isn't subtle, it's visible, and it's real. The color tells the story before a single word is spoken. If you keep laying hens, and you want practical, research-backed ways to improve your flock's health and your eggs' quality, this channel is built for exactly that. Hit subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. The benefits don't stop with what ends up on your breakfast plate. Marigolds offer several meaningful advantages for the laying hen herself. First, immune support. The carotenoids in marigold petals act as antioxidants inside the hen's body, helping to reduce oxidative stress. This supports her overall immune function, which matters especially during seasonal transitions, high production periods, and molting. Second, anti-inflammatory properties. Marigolds, particularly Tagetes erecta, contain flavonoids and other bioactive compounds that have demonstrated mild anti-inflammatory effects in poultry research. A hen with lower systemic inflammation tends to maintain production more consistently and recover from stress more efficiently. Third, Skin and shank pigmentation. If you raise breeds where leg color matters, or if you simply want your birds to look healthy and vibrant, marigold feeding visibly deepens the yellow pigmentation in the skin and shanks. This is the same mechanism used commercially. Many large-scale egg producers add synthetic xanthophylls to achieve the same effect. You can do it naturally from your own garden. Fourth, mild antimicrobial properties. Some poultry research suggests that marigold extracts may have mild antimicrobial effects, particularly in the gut. While this is not a substitute for proper flock health management, it may contribute to a healthier digestive environment over time. Taken together, these aren't dramatic overnight changes. They're the kind of slow, cumulative benefits that come from feeding your flock well, consistently, over a full season. Now let's get specific about how to use marigolds with your hens. Growing your own is the most practical approach for a small homestead. Tagetes erecta is easy to direct sow after last frost, thrives in most climates across the U.S., and produces heavily from midsummer through first frost. A modest planting of even 20 to 30 plants will give you more than enough petals through the season. Feeding fresh petals directly is the simplest method. Toss a small handful of fresh marigold flower heads into the run. Hens will pick them apart, eating the petals readily. Think of it as a supplement, not a staple. A few flower heads per bird, 2 to 3 times per week, is plenty. Drying petals for year-round use is where a small garden planting becomes truly valuable. Harvest flower heads at peak bloom, pull the petals free, and dry them in a single layer in a warm spot out of direct sunlight. Once fully dried, store them in a sealed jar or container. Dried petals can then be sprinkled over feed or mixed into a fermented feed mash throughout fall and winter, when your garden is no longer producing. Petal meal, finely ground dried petals, can be incorporated into feed at roughly 1 to 2% of total ration by weight. This is the method used in formal research settings and by commercial producers using natural pigmentation approaches. A practical starting point for a backyard flock. 1 to 2 tablespoons of dried petals per hen, mixed into feed 2 to 3 times per week. Monitor yolk color over 2 to 3 weeks and adjust from there. We have a growing library of videos on practical, research-backed homestead practices for small acreage farms. If you're finding this useful, take a moment to give this video a thumbs up. It helps this channel reach more people who are trying to farm with purpose. Now here's something this channel always does. We tell you the full picture. Marigolds are genuinely useful. But they have real limitations and you should know them. They do not replace a balanced feed. Marigold petals are a supplement, not a primary feed source. Your hens still need a properly formulated layer ration that meets their protein, calcium, and micronutrient requirements. Marigolds enhance that foundation. They don't replace it. The benefits are dose-dependent. A few petals scattered occasionally will do very little. To see meaningful yolk color change and health benefits, feeding needs to be consistent and at sufficient quantity over several weeks. There's no dramatic overnight transformation. They will not correct a poor diet. If your flock is nutritionally deficient, lacking calcium, protein, or other essentials, marigold petals will not compensate for that. Healthy eggs start with a healthy baseline ration. Seasonal availability is a real constraint. Unless you dry and store petals through the growing season, access is limited to the months your marigolds are actively blooming. Planning ahead, either through dried petal storage or purchasing dried petal meal, is necessary if you want year-round benefits. Not all marigolds are appropriate. Pot marigold, also called Calendula officinalis, is a different plant entirely. Sometimes used medicinally, but not the same species we're discussing here. When sourcing seeds or plants, confirm you're working with Tagetes erecta for highest lutein content. And one final note, if your hens are on any medicated feed, or if you're managing a health issue in your flock, consult your veterinarian before making feed changes. Marigold petals are natural and generally recognized as safe for poultry, but your specific flock situation always comes first. There's something worth pausing on here. We live in a time when there's no shortage of supplements, additives, and products marketed at backyard flock keepers. Some of them are genuinely useful. Many of them are unnecessary. Marigolds have been planted alongside chickens and livestock for generations, long before anyone had a name for xanthophylls or understood the mechanism behind what they were observing. People noticed that flocks with access to those bright orange and yellow flowers laid eggs with richer yolks. They passed that knowledge along. Modern research has simply given us the language to explain what those earlier farmers already understood through observation and practice. On a small homestead, the goal isn't to replicate industrial production. It's to work with simple, low-cost, sustainable practices that produce genuinely good food and a healthy flock. Marigolds fit that purpose exactly. If you're already growing marigolds, start saving those petals. If you're not growing them yet, they're one of the easiest, most rewarding additions you can make to a small homestead garden. Next time, we'll be covering another underused tool for the small acreage flock keeper, one that costs almost nothing and works in every season. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.